Good afternoon. So it sounds like JD Vance is taking a whole lot of my talking points, but not all of them. He said, quote, come out and protest, but do it peacefully. That sounds exactly like what I've been saying since the very first moments following the shooting of Renee Good. Protest peacefully, but don't take the bait. Don't counter the chaos of Donald Trump with our own brand of chaos here. And so to the extent he's telling people to protest peacefully, we're in agreement. Second, and quote, we want to enforce the laws on one hand, while on the other making sure people in Minneapolis are able to go about their day. It sounds a lot to me like he wants to be mayor of the city, only he's only been here for 2 hours, whereas we in this city have been working through these issues and this chaos for the last several weeks. Peace is not spraying irritants and chemicals at peaceful protesters. It's not detaining a 5-year-old. It's not dragging a pregnant woman through the streets. You achieve peace by working directly with communities. You lower crime by strategically going after people that have committed it. The vice president said he would love to be able to send some of these agents home. You know, there's no disagreement there. We've been encouraging that for weeks. You heard me say it 2 weeks ago, and I've been saying it every single day since. If you're looking for an antidote to many of the issues that we have faced over the last several weeks, there's a very easy answer. And it's for this huge influx of federal agents, ICE and Border Control, to go home. And finally, he said if we had a little cooperation, we'd be able to keep streets safe. Once again, we agree. We have extensively worked with federal agencies under both Democratic and Republican administrations. We've worked with the DEA and the FBI. We've worked with the ATF and the U.S. Attorney's Office to successfully drive down crime in Minneapolis, and we've done so by strategically focusing on people that have actually committed serious and violent crimes. So what's changed? What's changed is the response that we're seeing. What's changed is that we have 3,000 plus ICE agents and Border Control that are on our streets without a clear plan. What's changed is we've got this huge influx of what feels like an occupation in a city in the upper Midwest. And what's changed is that they are arresting United States citizens. They are detaining people that have done nothing wrong. They're going after people exclusively based on the fact that they look like they're Somali or they look like they are Latino, and no reason beyond that. They've stopped law enforcement officers that are off duty. They've stopped fathers that are on their way just to drop off their kids. There are incredible people in our city that have come from a variety of different places around the country and around the globe, and they've made our city a better place. They're part of our family. We love them. We're proud to have them here. So I get that they've got a messaging challenge here, and it's predominantly because anybody can see with their own 2 eyes what's going on. You can't say with a straight face that pulling citizens off the street or going into a school is a targeted action when clearly it's not. Clearly, what we are seeing on our streets right now is discriminating only on the basis of race and largely indiscriminate thereafter. So yeah, in Minneapolis, we want to solve crime. We want to arrest murderers. Let's do it. Let's work together to drive down crime. Again, this is not that. We have had relationships with a number of federal administrations to successfully drive down crime. What we are seeing is this is more about political retaliation. This is more about tragically terrorizing people than it is about safety, than it is even about immigration. So the job of law enforcement is to keep the peace, to keep Americans safe, and that is literally what I signed up to do and what the federal government signed up to do as well, and I urge that they do exactly that. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Mayor Frey, Earlier today, Vice President Vance, had said that you're not being cooperative. You had implied that there had been some order to prevent local police from responding to federal agents. Can you comment on that? Has any local official told police not to support agents?
What Vice President J.D. Vance is saying is he's rhetorically asking what makes Minneapolis different. What makes Minneapolis different is that we have an influx of 3,000 federal agents on our street, and we're not the size of New York City or Los Angeles. What makes us different is we're seeing constitutional violations play out in real time. What makes us different is, yes, we do have residents that are beautifully standing up, supporting their neighbors, providing food, escorting them to their jobs, recording some of the unconstitutional acts that are taking place to make sure that some sunlight is added as a disinfectant to some of the chaos that is being caused. And to your question, we have a separation ordinance, which is widely publicized, is nothing new. We had one well before this operation started taking place, and that separation ordinance says that our police officers and public officials do not work with any federal agency around immigration enforcement work specifically. We do work with federal agencies to catch murderers. And so if they want to catch murderers, that's what we're for. And it doesn't matter if they're from Minneapolis, Chicago, Venezuela, Germany. It doesn't matter where the murderer is from. We're getting them because they're a murderer, not based on where they grew up. That's the way this should work in America. What our separation ordinance also says, and I say this to everybody throughout the city, is that we will not ask the question in Minneapolis as to whether a person is documented or not. Why? Because when you call 911, we want everybody to know that our first and primary concern is not your papers, but it's your safety. That's what we are focused on. Now, our police officers respond to any instance where they can help keep people safe. We have responded. We have arrested people. You've seen it. You can report it. Where safety has been compromised, our officers have stepped in to help. But I'll tell you exactly what I want our officers doing. We have 600 of them. They got limited time. I want them focusing their energies on investigating crime, on keeping people safe, on preventing carjackings and homicides. I don't want them spending time hunting down a guy, a dad, who has done nothing wrong, who just dropped his kids off at daycare, who's about to go work a 12-hour shift. That guy makes our city a better place.
Mayor, your reaction to J.D. Vance saying that the military is not needed here in the state?
Yeah, totally. So my reaction to J.D. Vance saying that the military is not needed in our state, yeah, wildly agree.
Mayor Frey, what would improved communication with federal authorities look like to you?
Well, so the question is, what would improved communication with federal authorities look like to me? Give me a call. You know, if J.D. Vance can, feel free to reach out. We didn't get an invite, maybe unsurprisingly, to hang out while he was in town. We have done a whole lot of work through a number of different channels, including the channel of an email to seek an audience to try to figure out how we can stop this from happening and how we can keep our city safe. Again, I want to be really clear here. There is a route forward if we're all willing to see it. If their goal is to keep Minneapolis safe from criminals that are doing bad things, we agree. Regardless of where those criminals are from, we want to make sure that they are held accountable and that we're able to keep our city safe. And so there's broad agreement around that. For all these other people, though, that have done nothing wrong, that are these wonderful members of our community, why not a path to citizenship for them? That makes all the sense in the world to me.
Mayor, what do you make of the Vice President meeting with Republican state lawmakers and neither you or the governor?
So the question was, what do I make of the Vice President Vance meeting with Republican lawmakers, but not me nor the governor? I mean, the question that I have is, again, is this political performance that is taking place in our city that is compromising our safety? Or is this trying to achieve an end goal that is improving safety in Minneapolis? Is this political performance? Is this partisan politics? Is this loving your ideology more than you love your country? Or is this trying to get something done for the sake of the American people and for the sake of the people of Minneapolis? I appreciate, the Vice President said a couple nice things about the beautiful city that we have. And I agree, we have one. It's incredible. I'm so inspired by the people here in our city. And look, we got to find every possible way right now, again, as he said, to end this large-scale deployment and send these agents home.
One more question.
Is there any room for compromise between the city and ICE?
The question was, is there room for compromise? You know, look, I'll work with anybody that is willing to work in good faith with me.
Do you want to comment on Levy Armstrong's
Yeah, so do I want to comment on Nikema Levy Armstrong's arrest? It's a gross abuse of power, and she should immediately be released.
Mayor Frey, really quickly.
I'll do one more, and then I'm going to get going.
Vice President Vance said if there's cooperation between state and local officials, these many ICE agents would not be needed to carry out enforcement operations. What's your response to that? Is that something you're open to, that open line of communication to get these thousands of ICE agents out of the city?
Well, you know, you don't need to, so the question is the room for cooperation between the federal government and the state or in the city. You don't need to take my word for it. You can see it in the numbers coming straight out of corrections, which is a state agency, in the way that they have worked together. You don't need to take my word for it. You can see it in the numbers where we've successfully driven down shootings on the north side to a record low by working with federal agents in the U.S. Attorney's Office and our police officers that are, by the way, working tirelessly to arrest perpetrators of violent crime. So, look, we have done that. But again, I need to be really clear. That is not this. If this were about getting murderers, we would be able to do that. The number one question that we ask when we're trying to get a murderer is, are you a murderer? Is this a murderer? Not, where are you from? Where are you from is not the point here. The point is there a crime, a violent crime that has been committed? And of course, we've partnered extensively on that front. And so, again, let's just be really clear. Let's be really straightforward. I deeply appreciate all the work that the press has done just to uncover the facts and the truth so that we're not like talking by one another. I'm grateful to all of you, and thank you so much.